Hello, Tony here, co-founder and designer of RUX. In this video, I'm going to go deep into all the different parts of the RUX system, where it came from, and what we're doing, and a little bit about where we're going with it. So buckle up, deep dive time. RUX is a system that I've designed, and the premise was taking all of the things that I've used over the years to get gear from one place to another and organize that home, and just managing gear for a variety of activities, whether it's skiing and climbing and outdoor kinds of activities, camping, or just travel in general, work trips, and just kind of noticing that there was a lot of similar sorts of problems that always had to be dealt with in moving my stuff around, from just getting it out from wherever I've got it stored, organized for travel or the activity, and then to wherever I'm doing the activity, and then reverse. And RUX is intended to just help with that process and get you way more dialed, just make everything a little bit easier, bring a little bit more joy to all of those sort of in-between times when you're packing and just trying to remember all the things you need for whatever it is you're going to do. So yeah, that's what RUX is for. And like I said, it's a system, so it's a whole bunch of parts, again, based on different things that I've used, from bins and totes and duffel bags and stuff sacks and pockets and suitcases and all sorts of things that we all have and have used to get organized, and trying to just come up with one unified system that, as a sort of gear nerd, would just make my OCD go away. And, you know, just trying to build it in like a smart way and create some coherence to that. And then, yeah, like I said, ultimately just make it all sort of part of the journey rather than the beginning part and then the after part. You start the trip when you start packing. So that is RUX in a nutshell. Foundation of RUX right here is the RUX 70. This is a weatherproof bin, essentially. It's sort of a combination of a duffel bag and a bin, in that it's made out of fabric. The material is this aircraft industrial grade TPU coated 840D nylon, which is the same that they use in sort of life rafts on cruise ships and industrial tankers, or the factory also makes fabric for life vests for aircraft and the ramps you slide down if your plane crashes. So it's really nice fabric, maybe almost overkill, but hey, we're making the ultimate system here, so we didn't want to scrimp on anything. So this box is comprised of a few different parts. There's the main body of it, which again is that fabric. It has a base, which is actually a laminated piece of foam that helps give it some structure, but kind of keeps it with some bag properties. You know, you can still kind of like squish it and get it to go in awkward spaces. It has these proprietary corner stays, which are essentially a piece of spring steel with silicone coating. And there's 4 of those in here, 1 in each corner. And this allows it to basically compress as flat as possible, which is about 10 centimeters or 3 inches. Because they're spring steel, they want to spring back. So you can just open it up, push on the 4 corners, and your RUX springs up and takes its shape, which versus a duffel bag is way nicer to pack. It's always nicer to pack into a box, you know, but then boxes are super awkward, and when they're half full, then you have a bunch of empty space. So it's the best of both a box and a bag. Next, the rails provide a number of functions in the RUX. One, they just help hold the the RUX, the bag part of the RUX, onto the rim. We used nuts and bolts, so you can actually take these off and replace them, or replace the rim should that blow out for whatever reason, if you back over it with a truck or whatever. They also allow things to be attached easily to the RUX using our buckles. Well, there's a couple ways you can attach things, but we have these buckles, which is how the lid secures to the RUX. And these buckles actually go up into it, so they're actually extra strong because they're basically pulling up on it. And these are our own little buckles. So this is kind of like a daisy chain, like a rigid daisy chain that also holds the whole thing together. And those are all the way around, all four sides on the outside, as well as all four sides on the inside. The straps and handles all attached to these, and they're just super strong. Again, made out of the same injection molded nylon with glass filling. Again, pretty much like a Fisker's axe, so pretty darn sturdy. Touching back on the corner stays, which I mentioned earlier, that allow the RUX to stand and collapse. Those go into the inside of the RUX here and can be removed and replaced. So sometimes after a while, you know, these things do wear out, depending on how you're using your RUX, but it's not a big deal because you can literally just put new ones in. You know they're in there because they just pop into place. You should be able to see this little RUX logo. You know that's the right side, and you can just karate chop them like that, and they collapse and then spring back. We also, using the rails, have these straps, which are fairly simple, but pretty comfy. This is about the third version of our straps now. Like everything at RUX, we keep trying to tweak it and make it better, but these ones are pretty good. They're a piece of 38 millimeter tubular webbing with some foam stuffed inside, stitch to hold it in place, and then that steps down to our 20 mil webbing, and there's this cool little Hypalon piece that helps that transition, and then that also doubles as kind of a little keeper. So if you want to keep your straps from flapping around, you can just put those through there, and then it does that. And again, these have the RUX buckles on the end, so these just go like that, and you can pretty much put them anywhere. So I often just run them on the ends like this and kind of keep them at a length that's, you know, about like that, so they can flip up and are really handy for carrying. They're really easy to move around, so if you don't want the straps on there at all, those just come off and you can just put them in or leave them at home or whatever. There's also handles at the ends also attached to the rails, and these are more webbing, folded, stitched, Hypalon. Nice little aluminum piece here that just holds them into the rails. Yeah, those are pretty handy handles like that. Back to the body of the RUX, we've included this window. This was intended for you to be able to just see maybe quickly at a glance what's inside. If you have the lid on, you can probably just like see some things that are in there and know what you've got inside. We've also gone ahead and made these QR codes. They also have an NFC chip in them, so if you just hold your phone up close to it, it will detect it. And there's a unique number on the back of each one, so you can register your RUX, and then there's an app that you can use to help track and record, say if you want to put a packing list associated with a RUX for a trip or something. There's that. So if you want to go really nerdy, we have gone really nerdy with you. The lid. So the lid, we call this our tri-fold lid because it folds in 3 places. Very clever. This is made out of TPU coated 600D polyester, and this is what's actually on the base because it laminates to the foam better. There's 2 layers of fabric here, so we just put the single-sided coated here. And what's cool about this is that you can just take this whole thing off and it actually doubles as a nice seat pad or somewhere to stand, change your shoes if you need it, or what have you. I sit on mine all the time for different reasons. And then you can also just chuck it inside, and I will often just use my RUX like this. No lid, no straps, just kind of minimal. And it's just sort of easier to carry than a bin or something. You'll also notice that there are no zippers on the RUX. I don't particularly love zippers. I appreciate their function and have worked with zippers a lot in a variety of ways, but I noticed the first thing that blows out on many bags are the zippers. So I made it a little point in the RUX design process to try and avoid the use of zippers, hence no zippers. It would have been probably a lot easier in a lot of ways and has created its own special problems for us, but we're working through it, and I'm committed to trying to keep the RUX zipper free, because why not? How else do you innovate if you just always default to the same solutions that everyone else is using? So what we've done is just make this skirt that goes around the lid, and so that has a piece of bungee in it, and then that just pulls over the lip on the rim here and just grabs on. And so you can literally just pull it on like that. It doesn't even need the buckles. And then the nice thing is it just comes right off. Whereas if you have a zipper, it's going to be attached somehow at all times and will always be sort of flapping around. So this kind of just allowed us to make it so that you can completely remove it and it becomes much more of a bin. That's why there are no zippers on the RUX, and we'll see if we can keep doing that. Again, say you have the lid taken off, you can just have these straps. They're really easy to put on. You just find it so you can read the little RUX logo that's on there, and then you push it straight up into the rail until it clicks. And I usually try to make sure it's not twisted. Bring it around over here. Put that one there. And what's cool is that you can actually put these anywhere on these rails. So say you want them in a slightly different configuration, sort of like, I would call it kind of like basket style. So they're coming up from the sides like that. It's really easy to do that. And then your RUX just kind of has these two little handles like that. Easy to carry. They kind of get out of the way, flop down. You can make them so they're not in the dirt. So there's the straps. Okay, there's also another set of straps on the RUX, which are also removable. These are the compression straps. So down here you'll notice that there is a tie-in point. So you can use this to sort of connect your RUX to various things if you want to. Pretty much fits a regular carabiner. So if you want to like click your RUX down onto something securely, like a paddleboard or something like that, then you can do that. These straps are held in place with this little pocket, and then this little piece, which we call the E hook, it's in the shape of an E, and it's got two hooks on either end. So that strap can actually come right out of there if you want. Or what you can do is just have it parked in this little garage pocket like that. It makes for a super secure way of connecting the strap to the RUX. And then the strap goes up through the rail again so that it kind of keeps it from falling on the ground, and when you pull it over the top, it just kind of helps direct it. Another cool thing about these straps is that in a pinch, if you need to secure your RUX to something, you can pull this down and then loop it back on itself, And if you put the strap through like this so that it's in the middle, over the middle bar of the E-hook, it actually kind of makes this adjustable strap. So say you actually just don't want any straps flapping around, you can take this and it will slide and just create this perfect little like out of the way compression strap. I find that having the compression straps handy most of the time is pretty useful, because say you have your RUX packed half full and or empty, or anything but completely full, and you want it to stay squished down. Well, I forgot to mention that this lid we call weatherproof. We've tested it on some pretty extreme, strapped to the top of vehicles, driving through the middle of winter on snowy, blizzardy roads. Stuff stayed dry, but we're calling it weatherproof. Technically, all the fabric is very waterproof, but we're calling this seal weatherproof. These straps make it really easy to compress the RUX like this. So that's kind of minimal RUX right there, fully compressed. You can kind of squish it and tidy it and make it a little neater if you really want to, but that's your RUX packed down. So say you're in your van and you just might need some extra storage, but you don't want to bring an extra Rubbermaid bin or something like that, then this is a great option, because it allows you to just pop it out, and then you'll see this is the seal on it. When it's closed, it doesn't really want to pop up that smooth, but so you just go in there and push on it. So those are the compression straps. I personally like to use my RUX as a backpack, and part of the idea behind having this rim and the rails and the whole frame of it was kind of inspired by frame packs, like old-timey backpacking frame packs, which are still a great way to carry heavy loads. This is intended to allow you to have a backpack with a frame, but it is actually also really easy to pack and unpack. So to do that, again, you'd probably, this would be a pretty awkward backpack sort of size. It's starting to get to the point where it's gonna hang off your back awkwardly. So you might not want it like full, but if you say had like half or 3/4 of this full, and then you squish it down, and it actually squishes down nicer when it's only half full, because you kind of pack it to wherever you want it, and then you just squish down the rest. So I just pack it so that everything kind of laid in the bottom, like about half full, and then when you go to compress it, put the lid on, pull the compression straps over the top, and then if you just push on the top and pull those down, just tighten it down, and then it's a lot flatter, so when it's on your back, it's not going to pull you back over in an uncomfortable way. And then I'll usually just take the shoulder straps, and if this is the side that I was going to put on the top, I'd either put them in these middle slots on the rails for more of like a proper backpack feel. You can put them to the outside, but I usually put them in the middle ones if I can. Have that sort of as short as possible. Pull these ones down. I'll put these ones on the outside slots just so that they are away from my body a little bit. You could also put them over here, but I find this, just putting them to the bottom's most comfy. And now you have these two straps. Just kind of make sure, I know you can make these ones as long as possible and these ones as short as possible. And then that kind of makes it so you have this nice flat thing. And then you just pull these up a little bit to adjust it. And there it is in backpack mode, and it actually works quite well. I've gone on decently long walks with it. Maybe I wouldn't go down the Pacific Crest Trail with my RUX, but you know, for a day of cragging. And then the nice thing is when you get to wherever you're going, you just pop these open, and like say you just walk down to the beach or something, then you actually have this whole bin to keep your stuff organized and out of the sand or out of the dirt, and a nice little seat pad for sitting and hang out on. Now you know all about the RUX 70. It's kind of this multifunctional, configurable, collapsible, standalone unit. It is the heart of this system that is meant to work with all of these other parts. And kind of the first two parts that I'll talk about are the pocket, which is just a small little pocket that you know, just is for keeping small things like phones and keys and what have you, if you are taking this somewhere, like down to the beach or to the crag, or you know, if it's your camping box and you just want some small stuff to not get lost. And what's cool is that this has the same little buckles on it as the straps and the lid. And so this pocket literally just clicks on wherever. It goes on the outside, goes on the long side, goes on the short side. It also goes on the inside. It has these two little snaps on the back, so if you want to make sure it's like really secure, if you're going to kind of leave it in this spot, on this side in particular, or on the long sides anyways, you can kind of set it up. These have a cool little magnetic fidlock closure that just kind of naturally wants to find its place, and then you pull it down. There's two little mesh pockets on the inside, and it's got a bit of volume if you put enough stuff into it, but it mostly wants to stay flat and out of the way. And again, super easy to take this, just move it. Say you want it to be on the inside, then you just pop it in there. Like for my ski stuff, it's nice having one of these. I'll just keep like, you know, little bits and pieces in it. Sunscreen or sunglasses or whatever. And then that just goes in there. And it kind of flaps around so on the inside, so like if you were to say collapse this down, you can actually just pull that up and it gets out of the way. It's made out of the same 600D polyester as the lid fabric. It's got this kind of neutral gray color on the inside so you can see what's going on inside. Has a couple little mesh pockets. Kind of has a plastic stiffener in here so you don't really have, it's like you can kind of just grab it anywhere and it's quite easy to operate. On the back, there's these Hypalon pieces that have the same little pockets as on the bottom of the RUX where an E-hook lives. And we've made it so that the buckles are attached with this little configuration with the E-hook. There's a nice little handle that's kind of stiff for grabbing on. There's actually belt loops, and I personally like using this as a little, like, you know, emergency fanny pack kind of unit. Or you can also put a strap and kind of use it as a strap or as like a crossbody sort of thing. And then it's got these little snapped parts for securing the bottom of it in a couple ways. About 2 or 3 liters of volume if you really stuff it full, and nice little handy extra piece of organization for your RUX. Also, just to note that all of these come in all of the different colors that we make the RUX 70s in, so you can totally color match everything. We've also gone full dip dyed with the binding and the webbing, so they just look really slick and kind of add something to your RUX 70. So there's 3 different colors of pockets. Next, I'll talk about the bags, the divider bags. These also come in 3 colors. These are also made of the same 600D polyester, coated in the same TPU as all of the rest of the fabrics. So everything's kind of, you know, got this unified vibe. These are also kind of as dip dyed as we could make them, binding, webbing, whatever we could do. This kind of neutral medium gray on the inside so you can see what's going on. We've patterned it so that it has its own structure and just kind of wants to stand open, like very much like the RUX in miniature form, but more of a bag. These nice carry handles. It's just a great grocery bag. If you're going to use it for grocery bag, I use mine for my bike gear. I find I can fit my shoes, my knee pads, my helmet. You know, just if I'm going out for a cash ride and don't need a full RUX to get all my stuff there. Another nice thing about this is that it's got a couple pockets. Again, mesh pockets, very much like the Pocket itself. So you can store, you know, like your gloves or your glasses. It has this pocket here that flaps out, which allows you to kind of secure your stuff inside of it if you want to. Kind of makes this sort of box bag. It's like a different form of box bag, and it's just a really handy bag. Basically waterproof. We haven't sealed the seams, but this fabric is TPU coated, so you can pretty much like set this down in a puddle and it won't necessarily get super wet. There's also this compression strap, so if you want to really crank that down, you can compress that. Another nice thing, of course, because it's part of the RUX system, it has 2 RUX buckles on it, one on either end of the bag here. And, you know, it definitely wants to stand on its own, but it also fits perfectly. And this is why we call it divider bag, is that it basically divides the RUX in half and just clicks in like this. Again, the buckles and the rails, you can just move these around. So it just pops in like that, and then when you are loading and unloading it inside your RUX, it doesn't just fall down. It's actually attached to the rails and just makes for a really easy packing experience. You can kind of seal it up if you want to make your RUX, you know, if you're only using half of it and this stuff's not being touched. And the pockets are super handy in the RUX like that. And then, yeah, you can kind of just like squish it and get it out of the way and buckle it in if you want to. So that is the divider bag and is another nice component to the RUX system, along with the RUX Pocket. Everything's color matched. RUX divider bag. Next up is the waterproof bag. This is the super version of the divider bag. The thing about the waterproof bag, it's got the same handles. What's different here is that it actually has this roll top closure, which turns this into, as the name implies, a waterproof bag, even a dry bag, I would say. 3 rolls, standard, folds down, clips like that, and there is your 100% dry component to the RUX system. When you put this in with the RUX, weatherproof RUX, then, you know, your stuff is not gonna get wet. You can rest easy that everything's safe. The cool thing about this bag is that the roll part actually folds down, folds away completely. And you have this very clean, nice dry bag, but that doesn't have to be a dry bag. It can just be a bag that you can carry around every day. It has this really neat, if I do say so myself, strap that goes on it, and it's got these little clips. The strap is made out of the same fabric as the bag, the 840D TP coated nylon folded and welded onto itself. It's a waterproof bag, so the strap doesn't hold any water either. These straps are cool. You can use these in conjunction with your pocket, say, or if you want to use it on one of your other divider bags. Because it's these little spring-loaded hooks, you can pretty much just link that in on one of these spots back here, and then you end up with this cool little crossbody pocket. Those come with the waterproof bags and just link in to these little slots on the ends here. You'll also notice that the waterproof bag has a couple buckles on it, so you can also connect it to the 70-liter RUX if you need to, like this, so that if you are, just trying to keep your stuff together, or it's in the back of a truck or something like that, everything just sort of stays as a unit. The waterproof bag also acts as a very nice little divider within the RUX itself. So you can put that in there, and again, in conjunction with a divider bag or another waterproof bag, you basically have your RUX divvied up into 2 compartments, say clean clothes, dirty clothes, however you're going to do it. The waterproof bag is made out of the same 840D TPU coated nylon as the RUX itself. This hood part is a 420D, so it's a little lighter, easier to roll, and then it has these kind of stiffener rods in here, so it makes it very easy to just like roll down your RUX or roll down the hood, and it makes this nice little cube. There's also some stiffener rods in the rim here, so it kind of gives it this nice shape. Another feature is this, the bottom has a piece of foam captured in it, so compared to the divider bag, which doesn't actually have any real structure and can fold down flat, this is always going to be a little bit padded. Anything that you throw in the bottom of it doesn't go straight to the ground. It's like sits on some foam, and the whole thing just has a little bit more structure to it. Also, there are these slots or slits cut into the bottom part of the bag here, and what this allows for is the pocket to also be attached to this bag on the outside here, which is quite cool. If you're going to mount the pocket to your waterproof bag, I would suggest you do this, where you flip these little parts the other way up so the E-hook's on top. And then what this allows for is these parts on the bottom that connect to the straps on the RUX. So this allows you to connect these E-hooks up here, just like that. Quite easy. And that's a fairly secure connection. If you think you're going to be taking this on and off a fair bit, then I would say that that's actually, pretty good. It's going to flop around, but if you want to just mount this securely 100% to the waterproof bag, then you just take these and you just pass them through these little loops, slots on the outside here. You just push that through and snap it. One over here, and now you have a little cling-on attached to the side of your waterproof bag. You can actually have 2 pockets if you want, so that's a nice add-on to the waterproof bag if you want it. And then it allows you to take this off and put it inside if you think you're gonna get really wet. These little loops and slots on the outside also allow you to tie the waterproof bag down, like say to a paddleboard. This is actually a great paddleboard setup. You can have like some easy access, like things you're not too worried about, but you want to be able to grab quickly out here, and then your other stuff on the inside, staying nice and dry. That is the waterproof bag. We also have these in all 3 colors, black, green, orange, just like the rest of our stuff, so you can either go hard on orange or mix and match and get wacky with your color combos. everything works. It's choose your own adventure. We also now have color matched utility straps, TPU with a nylon buckle at the end. If you're a skier, recognize these as ski straps, but they're useful for almost everything. And they're kind of like duct tape. And so we've made our own color match ones that, you know, almost Pantone perfect to all the rest of our RUX products. They're 20 millimeters wide, so they go right through the rails on the RUX 70. So if you wanted to like attach it to a rack of some sort, you have that as an option. They also work on these slots, say on your waterproof bag. If you were gonna try and tie it down to a paddle board or something, you can just pop one of these through and then that will attach to anything like that. Boom. Another product we've just received today and are launching is our new tie-down straps. These are 20 millimeter strips of Hypalon, and they have an E-hook, a cam strap, and a buckle. And these allow you to sort of pre-rig where you're gonna strap your RUX and then quickly attach and detach the buckle to the rails. So those come in 2 lengths. This is the long one, which is a meter, so that's a long strap. You could go around something really big or something far away and tie your RUX down. And they also come in this shorter 1/2 meter length and are sold in 4 packs. And so the idea is that you can just take this, wrap it around something, hook the strap back on itself, and then that will just buckle into the rail. So for example, that's attached to some sort of rack. That goes into the rail, standard buckle, and then the cam buckle tightens down and is spring loaded so it won't back off. And then when you get somewhere, you can just go boink and leave that attached to the rail and then easily come back and just reconnect it. So new tie-down straps that work with the RUX. Lastly, I'll talk about our utility hooks, which are these cool little aluminum hooks. And these allow you to use the rails in another way on the RUX. Basically what this is a little piece of, again, aircraft grade aluminum. And there's 2 of them. And you take these, and there's a little set screw, 2.5 millimeter set screw, which is actually the same as all of the hardware on the RUX, say if you happen to want to change anything. But these just back the set screw off. And then this actually slides onto the rail like this. The rail has enough of a profile on this outer rail that this can just slide onto it. And then, so that slides on there. We suggest you put them sort of right over the hardware points on the rails. And then tighten the set screw like that. And then this is for people who have this kind of system in their garage, which is slat wall. And so what this allows you to do is just, rather than having shelves, you can just take these. This can be loaded up with your camping gear or ski gear or whatever gear you've got. And then you just go in, hook it to the wall, drop it down, and that is the utility hook. This we've also designed so that it fits into L-track. If you are a sprinter van or van life type of person, you've built out your van, you'll know what we're talking about. L-track is commonly used in those sorts of scenarios to attach all sorts of things inside of vans. And these hooks actually work in L-track as well. Okay, so there you have the entire RUX system to date. Like I said at the start, this was designed to fill this sort of gap of all of the things that I used and have used throughout my life, but trying to combine them into one unified system. This is really just the start. We've only been at this for a few years. I'm really looking forward to seeing how you guys use all of these things, and if you have any ideas of parts to a system like this that you'd like to see that are all integrated, please share in the comments, or just send us a note, or however you want to get in touch. I'm obviously a super huge gear nerd, and even just color matching these things gives me so much joy. And if you find that sort of stuff cool, then want to hear about that too. We've combined all of these things into bundles and that sort of thing on our website. So if you just want to get everything, you can just go in and buy all of it. You can mix and match. The whole idea is that you can make it whatever you want it to be. And we have our ideas. I'm sure you have your own. And really just want to see what people do with this. That's RUX Deep Dive. And if you're still here, thanks for watching. Clearly you're like as much of a nerd as I am. Click the likes and subscribes and follow us and all of those things if you haven't already. And again, give us your thoughts, and thanks so much. Look forward to seeing you on the trails.